Hello there, thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and boy, is this an unusual poster, or what? Well, there's certainly no question what year it's from. Take a look at that. Extravaganza of 61 in that big white banner. Boy, an R&B traveling review from the fall of 1961 with a dozen acts, if you count the Master of Ceremonies, and another classic window card from Globe Poster out of Baltimore, measuring at 22 by 28 inches on nice thick cardboard. Location here was from the Mosque in Richmond, Virginia, a very popular stop for R&B acts, in fact all acts, in the 50s and 1960s. And what's really fun about this one, as you can see in the upper left there, very unusual, a couple of last-minute acts were added to the bill up in the venue box there. I'm not going to call that unprecedented because it's not, but I will say it's very rare. It just doesn't happen very much at all. Looking at the entire box there, as I move my little fingers out of the way, it does say The Mosque in Richmond, Virginia, Saturday night, November 18th, one show only at 9 p.m. Tickets, only $1.50 to start. Boy, gosh, that'd be 13 cents per musical act if you bought $1.50 ticket. That's crazy. And they do go up to $2.50. Tickets on sale, and there's 4 locations listed, including 2 record stores. And then you got that upper left there, I'll tell you, extra added attractions, the Marquise, and Freddie Cannon. Now when somebody's added like that to the tour blank box up there like that, and obviously a couple of possibilities, they were added to the tour after the poster was designed, is one possibility, or they're just part of a couple of shows, or maybe just this one show, so of course they couldn't be down in the color portion. The Marquise, they were an instrumental group from Memphis, Tennessee, featuring the great Steve Cropper and Duck Dunn, who later, dissolved or left that group and formed Booker T and the MGs. And Steve Cropper just played on all kinds of classic R&B records. In fact, Duck Dunn probably did also, but Cropper, as lead guitarist, got more headlines, And the Marquise had a top 5 hit this summer with Last Night. And the other one up in the upper left corner there, Freddie Cannon, well, he was on a good streak. He had charted 5 songs the previous year on Billboard's pop chart, and 4 more this year, 1961. He was still about a half a year away from his signature hit, though, and that would be Palisades Park, about a half a year in the future. Okay, so down below the venue information, you do have the permanent part, the Dayglow color part, thanks to Globe Poster, and Supersonic Attractions present Extravaganza of 61. It's kind of funny the way it's in white, right? I mean, come on, Globe is so known for their fluorescent colors, and Dayglow oranges and all this stuff, and it just looks a little bit odd to have it in white, only a little bit, don't get carried away, Pete, but it does give the poster a distinctive, different look. And also the way Jerry Butler's photo is sort of tied into that banner. It's just, it's unusual, that's all. It's a different look, and it's unique, I can easily say. And Butler's caption, by the way, it says, "For your precious love," and Jerry Butler. And that was Jerry's first charting hit as Jerry Butler and the Impressions back in 1958. A couple of years later, in 1960, he would have "He Will Break Your Heart" as a #1 R&B hit for 2 months. Wow, so that's something else. And right now, as far as Butler, his cover of the classic song Moon River was in the national mainstream top 30 records. And then, across from Jerry, you've got Lloyd Price, extremely familiar name, but his best years were indeed behind him. Lloyd had charted 7 pop singles the previous year, 1960, but he would have 0 this year or the next year, 1962. The 2 songs on this poster for Lloyd Price, simply the A and B side of his current single, or I should say the single from this spring, that did not chart at all. And that would be covers of String of Pearls and Chantilly Lace. Chantilly Lace. Notice the way it also says, and his big 15-piece band. Well, that was the band not just for Lloyd. You can be sure that was the band for the entire show, because no other large orchestra name or anything is given. Okay, the bottom half of the poster between those 2 really big headliners there. Underbilled, you've got Bobby Lewis off to the left there with, boy, Tossing and Turning. That was a gigantic hit. #1 pop for 2 months earlier this year. That's just huge. And so it's kind of funny the way, in light of that hit, the picture of Bobby Lewis is sort of squeezed way off to the left margin there. He barely got in there. And right under Bobby Lewis, you've got Chuck Berry with a great photo right there in the center of the poster on his guitar, and that's just nice. And you know, Chuck's presence on this poster is a little bit of "Oh, the Mighty Has Fallen," you know, sadly. To have one of the architects of rock and roll of the 1950s, right, build underneath a flash in the pan who would, you know, arrive this spring and be gone by this fall. That's Bobby Lewis. And but Chuck's career was really in a tailspin. I mean, you know, in 3 months he would enter prison for a year and a half. And also for this poster, it's just, you know, a most unfortunate choice of song titles. Actually, I should say it's most unfortunate for this poster's sake that his last charting single was called "Too Poop to Pop." I mean, you know, that song title just sort of sits there limply on the poster and fits his current troubles perfectly. So that's just bad timing, what can I say? You know, it's a darn shame is that this, and so often they would do this, it's just too bad this poster didn't list the B-side of that single, right? "Let It Rock." God, a song covered by, you know, Rolling Stones and Grateful Dead, just to name a couple. To get in even closer on this for just a moment, imagine if that song title said "Let It Rock" with that great picture of Chuck on guitar. Okay, and then to the right of Chuck Berry you have Ernest Johnson and his song title "Tell Her For Me," but that did not chart. Then back to the left-hand side, under Chuck, you've got from Richmond, Virginia, the Jarmels in that red oval, wow, with a little bit of soap. Now this is really amazing because they're the one act on the poster with no photograph of them. But they're from Richmond, and this poster was printed for Richmond, the top part obviously. Now, you know, of course it's a national poster, and there's lots of posters where you have the acts with no pictures. But in doing over 500 video blogs of concert posters, I've never had this situation. This is amazing. I mean, just, you know, it's not hard to imagine this thing in store windows all over Richmond, right? And friends and relatives going and seeing it and saying, "Hey, look, the Jarmels are on here with Chuck Berry and everybody else. But where's Ray? Where's Paul? Where's anybody? Where's their photo?" I mean, that just happened. You know it did, and it's the first time, as I said, I've seen this happen. And yet right below them, the Cleftones in that black oval, all, you know, all smiling faces, or just all four guys are right there. So I'm sure those friends and relatives in the group themselves said, "Oh man, what a bummer." But such is life, and hopefully there were other concert posters with the Jarmels picture, and the tour stopped in Richmond, so that could that could be a make-good, I guess, of some kind. Okay, speaking of those Cleftones, "Heart and Soul" was their biggest hit. It went top 20 pop and top 10 R&B. Then you've got Baby Washington there in the middle, and boy, she charted 17 singles on Billboard's R&B charts between the late 1950s and early 80s, but "There You Go Again" was not one of them. And then the classic Drifters in the lower right, they had a top 20 pop hit with "Please Stay" this summer. I'm sure not a bad song, but the year before they had "Save the Last Dance for Me," the year after "Up on the Roof," and the year after that "On Broadway." A bit more memorable, you could say. And then the final black stripe in the lower right, Bill Murphy, MC, Master of Ceremonies. So, boy, Extravaganza of 1961. Of course, Globe Poster in Baltimore, whenever they would do a multi-act package, every poster was an extravaganza. And this one is no exception. And it's got some fun, key, interesting differences. So, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for dropping by today. And we'll see you again for something soon, as I always say. Okay, have a nice day or a nice evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Bye-bye.